So that's the weather we got out there. We are at Hammond's. This is Hammond's Fishing Center right here. We'll talk to Tim and hang out for a little bit, all right? One of the first sections we always check out when we go to a new, like, you know, fishing store. I've been here like once before, way back in 2012, I think, when I first met Tim and that. We got our gambling stuff because there's a Gambler Free Tournament. So what I like to do before the Gambler Free Tournaments is I look at what's not on the pegs because that means that's what they're biting. So let's take a look here. So Weebo Worm, Finesse, Green Pumpkin is gazon. What else we got? Very few 7-inch burner worms. Obviously a hot ticket. Ooh, this is one of my favorites actually, and you don't see them much anymore. This is the Ace. It's a stick bait, but it's in that Lunker Candy, which is like a blend of green pumpkin, kind of like a pearl. It's actually a pretty badass color. Big Easy Phantom. That makes sense. Oh yeah, classic. So I talked to you guys about Hammond's herring. This is the I always forget what it is. Super stuff. It's like a fluke style bait, but it's in that Hammond's herring color, that green olivey kind of. It's a killer freaking color, dude, and it's not just for herring. Like, seriously, shad, anywhere you have, like, greenish water and bait fish that are silver or, like, whitish, like, they get kind of a green tint in them to match the water. This is an absolutely killer color. I'm sure this will play a key. We should probably actually get some of these to go fish today because it's a perfect day to throw a fluke and just twitch because they're going to be high, suspended in the water, and they should be up. They should be chewing. It's going to be a little tough. We might have to find some running water. What else do we got? Ooh, very sneaky. BB Cricket. Yeah, that's kind of perfect for pitching. And as we talked about in another video, it's an awesome drop shot bait that nobody really talks about because it's kind of sneaky. Let's look at what else they got. All right, guys, we finally found Tim. This guy, he owns Hammond's Fishing Center. I met Tim way back in 2012, dude. Tim is a stick on Lanier. Actually, you know, one thing I wanted to ask you, we've been kind of talking a little bit before I turned on the camera, I'll tell you that much. But I just caught him back from his daughter's science fair, dude. So I caught him fresh running around in the rain. But Tim, what are you fishing? Like, do you fish local tournaments or what's your deal?
Yeah, I fish a lot of local tournaments, mostly local tournaments. I don't have time for BFLs. BFLs around here is our busy time at the stores.
Right.
So it's kind of hard for me to put the practice in I need to do those tournaments. But I fish the Skeeter Trail and fish a lot of local tournaments.
But you're buddies with a guy that I know who's like a super stick, and that is it Jason Johnson?
Oh yeah, me and Jason fished this winter. I like fishing with Jason. He kind of knows what he's doing.
He's the one cool guy.
Yeah, he's easy.
I remember he went out to Okeechobee once with Val, dude. I think that was like 4 years ago or something. Six years ago. So we were on this. It's one of the first times I ever caught 30 pounds out there. And these jokers are like fishing like a grass line, and he's fishing like 15-pound fluorocarbon with an Ace. And he caught, what was it, like a 9-pounder or something?
It was a big.
He caught, dude, but with fluorocarbon. He's like, yeah, this will work. And Val was like, oh, yeah, whatever, dude. And he freaking caught.
Yeah, Val's up there flipping with heavy stuff.
And he caught a freaking monster. But enough chitter chatter. This is epic what you got going on here. So let's walk in here, and why don't you tell me a little bit about the live bait selection you guys got, why you have it. Because I saw that these are herring, right?
Yeah, you got your blueback herring.
Okay.
And we got Arkansas shiners on the other side. We typically carry trout, but it's seasonal.
Wait a second. Whoa.
Rainbow trout.
How big?
I mean, anywhere from tiny to big ones. So.
What the hell are those for?
A lot of
like
fishing.
What fishing for what?
Stripers, bass, whatever.
How do you rig up like a trout, dude?
Through the nose, just nose hook it on the right size hook to the size of the bait. So I mean, if you have a tiny trout this big, you're going to use a smaller hook. So.
Do they got to go way down?
No. Typically in trout season, you're freelining most of them.
Are you now? Are there trout out in Lanier?
There are. Actually, the record was just broken 3 or 4 weeks ago by a little girl. She had 8-pound something trout she caught.
Rainbow.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
On a fish head spin.
Just out in the lake.
Yeah, out in the lake.
Not fishing
now,
like.
I don't know. We've had a lot of heavy rains, so that this particular trout could have been flooded down and pushed down.
Okay. Or
it could have been a released trout from many years ago. And I mean, there's a lot of trout that live in this lake. I catch one usually every year, a big one, just like a walleye too. Yeah.
That I had no idea. And those are stocked, I would assume, or
no?
They
used to be. They used to be.
So they just come down from the creeks?
Yeah, a lot of them come from the creeks, and a lot of them are release baits too. You know, guys are fishing with trout
and they grow up.
Release. I mean, most guys that come in are getting 2 dozen trout when they're coming. So it's
they're going to come off the hook.
Yeah, they come off the hook. They get released just because they do live well in the tank. But I mean, a lot of guys when they're done, they're not going the next day. So
Yeah, they're
really
going to dump them, dude. And the water's perfect out here. You guys got some current, especially when it rains. Or they can run up in the creeks. The water's clear. It's wow. It's funny too because the more obviously I'm living in Alabama now, and we're down here hanging out in Georgia, so we're kind of in the southeast. But the more I hang out in this, they call it the deep south, but dude, Lanier is around the line. It ain't freaking deep south. No. It is, but it ain't. Lovely. And now there's an ambulance driving by. But in any case, the more I hear about, and maybe Jason probably knows about this too. It's a lot like California over here, dude. Like the spots that are in here are the same ones that are out there, I think.
Ish, but they have different bait as well. They eat a lot of kokanee. They eat the bigger kokanee and everything out there, and that's it's almost like a rainbow trout. But we don't have that in the lake like we do the bluebacks. Right. So, and that's one of the reasons that our spots and largemouth get as big as they do compared to like a Smith. They have a ton of bluebacks in this lake. So. You can let's talk about them, dude. These bluebacks don't come from Lanier because Lanier bluebacks are just not as hardy as like Russell and Clark Hill and Hartwell and all that. But I mean, these guys will absolutely smash a spotted bass right now. Really? Yeah. I mean, bluebacks are egg eaters. Okay. So I mean, they'll run through and try to eat all the spotted bass eggs they can before they spawn. Really? Yeah, and that's why you free line a heron through a blow through or something, and there's spot spawning, they'll absolutely tear it up.
What's
they can't
a blow through?
Just it's like an island in a bank, and it's shallow in between.
Got like a little shoal in between or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we call them blow throughs around here.
So I'm learning my language.
It's a good time of year to do it. The water's warming up. Fish are coming to the bank. These guys will just sit there and flip these things a couple feet off the bank and just relax on an umbrella on a day like today.
So that leads to a couple questions that I got. So would you call this, so down, in Florida, we fish wild shiners, right?
A lot of shiners.
Is this, and it'll catch any, mudfish, catfish.
This will catch anything as well.
Is that what, so you go out there and
you catch big crappie on heron.
Shut up.
Oh yeah. Especially this time of year because crappie are bedding too. So.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, like yesterday, I caught like a 3-pound largemouth off the bed. It took me like 45 minutes to, it was a mess, dude.
That's because you don't know what you're doing. It's a big difference.
I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly,
these up here are a little different from down here.
They're a little I'm throwing giant baits. But say I like had this and it's in like a foot and a half of water. I could just free line this joker onto the bed.
Just pitch it up there and it's done.
And that largemouth would freak out.
Done.
That's crazy.
We don't like to do that. It's just like a night crawl. You flip a night crawl into a bed, they're going to eat it. So, but
this
heron,
is the candy.
Heron on this lake, I mean, they will absolutely crush them when they're on bed because they're trying to eat the eggs.
That's so nuts. So let me ask you this. So if I was going, I'm not going to do it. Actually, you know what? Maybe I will grab a few before I go. I don't even know if I got a rod to do it. But if I wanted to go,
need a heavy rod. You need 10-pound test.
When I drag it behind the boat, dude. But like, so say I wanted to do this and I wanted to go out and I'm a catch anything guy. Like just going out on the boat. Say I got a kid with me or my old man. What would I set up to fish them? Like the spinning reel, that what kind of hook?
Spinning reel, bait caster. It doesn't matter really as long as you can flip it out. Okay. And it'll mean that you put it on. Give yourself about a 6 or 8 foot leader. Okay. And just a little swivel. Okay. About a 1/0 hook, size 1 hook. Wow. Right through the nose. Open the bottom of the mouth. Go through the roof of the nose. Okay. Flip it out. The thing's gonna go do its own thing. Let it roll. It's really that simple. When they eat it, is it like a shiner? Will they'll come up to the top and start skating around, freaking out? Those suckers. You know when your rod tip's bouncing, it's about to go down. And he's either getting off the hook or he's getting eaten. So maybe we'll try that. What else? Get some footage of that. That's fun. Dude, I actually, because even the one on the bed, I've never seen a bass on the bed. Because I've sight fished a lot down in Florida in the canals and that. That fish yesterday, dude, I pissed her off so much. She was doing figure 8s around the bed and going up in it, dude, like that much water. I'd see her back come out. She'd kick, come right back to the bed and look at my bait. I pitch it back in there. She'd go right up. It was the crazy, like, fish are nuts, dude. This lake is really, when you get them like that, if you can flip a drop shot at them, really, something off the bottom. That's the one thing I didn't do. You can really get right. You also just changing the colors up constantly. That's one constantly thing changing the colors up, back and forth, back and forth. So, I mean, we won. I think me and Rob won 3 gambler tournaments in a row a couple of years ago, and every one of them was caught on a different bait. Every fish we caught was on a different bait. I just keep dipping the tails and different stuff and flipping it up there.
And that's a big deal up here. We'll go look at what you dip the tails in and stuff like that. What was the other thing? Jeez, there's so much information. Thank God I'm shooting video because I can't even process this. So you got other stuff too. Let's look at what other baits you got, like live baits, and then let's go take a look inside.
Right now we got nothing on this side because I'm waiting on a whole nother load of herring because I go through several tanks each morning.
Wow.
So I don't have as much when the water starts to warm up. We don't carry all the bigger baits because most of the fish after spawn start pushing out.
Okay.
And you're doing more downline and then free line.
Okay.
So we have shiners, Arkansas shiners. You got your large, your crafty minnows. Obviously, I sell a bunch of crafty minnows. So Ryan's here getting some crafty minnows right now. Rye. Stop.
Hollywood.
You got medium shiners. So you just carry small, medium, large, and then it's really all you need. I mean, that covers all the bases. So
let's go take a look inside. I like the artificial thing. We got to ask them about that swim bait.
Oh,
great. For do you guys have shell crackers?
I sell. Yes, we have a ton of them, but I sell more crickets to people feeding their animals than people fishing.
That's a big thing. So, even on YouTube, dude, that's like a big deal.
The Pet Smarts and all those crickets are really expensive, and I've got them for pennies on the dollar.
Really?
So, yeah, I sell a ton of crickets.
So if you got an iguana, come hit up Tim. You ain't got a fish, dude. All right, let's go check some of this stuff out. I want to go over to the gambler section, and I want some insights. It'll probably be a little too late for the tournament, guys, but maybe for next year. What's going to work? What's going to be the deal? What do you see as a strong bait out here for that derby?
Anytime you go out, I've won the tournament, 5 times now?
Yeah.
And I would say about 80% of my fish in those 5 wins have come on a Gambler Ace, a 5-inch. So
really?
There's just a 1,000 different ways you can rig it. Texas rig, shaky head, and wacky. That's really all you need. You can catch them on a Carolina rig as well. Okay. But, I mean, honestly, just throwing that thing on a Texas rig and on a bedding fish is going to catch them. Really? So that's my preferred way this time of year.
Do you have a color, or you said you vary?
Copperfield, green pumpkin, and I've had a couple of special runs that Val's done for me.
Yep.
And I like to keep those kind of to myself. But I mean, we did have the sand color.
Okay.
But the sand is I haven't reran it. Okay. But that's also a fantastic color on this lake as well.
I noticed that on Smith I have a stick bait that's like that, and it's like a great. It almost looks like some of those saltwater baits that they make, where it's like brownish crustacean kind of, but it's transparent and that.
And you also got the why nots and the burner crawls. Okay. So last year, I think we ended up 3rd. Okay. And that was all on a burner crawl and a why not.
Once again, pitching the beds and stuff like that.
You keep pitching them in the bed over and over, switching them back and forth and changing the colors. Go to green pumpkin, go to white. You know, and I mean, I had so many. If you've seen the picture that I gave to Byron, there were so many different colors and variations. There wasn't one that they wanted, but if you switched it up, you got their attention again.
And there was a pile of it. I remember that. It was an awesome picture.
It was insanity.
So one thing I want to ask you about, because I freaking love this color. And this color, it's called Hammond herring, but literally, dude, it's not Hammond herring. It's catchfish anywhere you have semi-green, like clear water, and shad or anything. Like, how'd you develop this color? Like, what's the deal?
You know, if you take it and put it in the bait tank, it looks like a herring. So, and that's kind of what we were going for, something more of a herring-looking bait. And it's pretty simple. I mean, Val matched it up pretty good. His guys matched it up pretty good, and it worked out pretty well. I still have a ton of them left. I sell a ton of them. I send a lot of these over to Alabama.
I was just going to ask you, have you caught fish like everywhere on that color?
Everywhere you go, you can catch them.
Because dude, from my deep water stuff down in Florida, like some of the biggest swim bait fish I've ever caught were on that Jeezy in that Hammond herring. Like, it's just such a killer color, dude.
Yeah, if you remember the video that me and Val did, you were with us on that big one. You caught it on the Mino, and you had that Hammond's herring on it.
Really?
Yep.
That's like really early on in the run, dude. That's when it first started.
Yep, that was a while back, but I mean, that's what he caught it on. That was a big one too. That was a toad.
Dude, so actually that leads to another question. So underspins, I think Lanier, obviously it didn't start here or anything like that, but Lanier is probably one of the best known lakes for the underspin. It really got a lot of press here. When it comes to putting a trailer on that underspin, I know that the different times of year require a different deal, but 2 questions. 1, what are a couple trailers that you want to use? And 2, why does the underspin work? Like, what fish are you targeting? Like, how are they set up? Like, what makes it such a versatile bait, like, for the situation?
I like to throw an underspin in the ditches in the winter.
Okay.
And I like to throw a swim bait on it.
Okay.
And that basically just helps slow it down. You know, the water temperature's low. I'm just dragging it on the bottom. Fish aren't active. They're looking for something to eat.
Okay.
They want to eat once, and they want to be done. It's a good, nice, big meal, and it's slow for them. And that's what I like to do in the wintertime. As it starts to get closer to the spawning season, you can take your weight down a little bit and do the same thing with it up shallow. As these fish are pulling up, they're ready to eat anyway, so you can throw whatever you want on it.
Right.
You know, scrounger, underspin, all that good stuff.
Right.
It's pretty fun. Just a regular ball head
yeah.
on a swim bait works
that's
good
what
as
we
well.
talked about.
But typically after the spawn, I go to more of a fluke style bait.
Really?
Because I'm typically throwing it around brush and off the end of long points. So and they're ready to chase. They're ready to move. The water temperature's coming up.
Down though, or is it up?
Typically that time of year, no. I'm keeping them up. I want them to come up and eat it. Mm-hmm. Get it around brush, tick it around brush. That's kind of the main deal around here.
Because that arm allows you to kind of like feel it before you hang up. You know, like you sink it down
so
there and you can kind of tick.
Keep popping it and kind of make it look like it's kind of try to get away.
Tweaker.
Same thing I do with a swim bait.
Right.
Even the big swim baits.
Now let me ask you something, because this is something I tried, and I don't know if it might be too small for out here. Have you ever put a shaky shad on the back of the minnow?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and that's just when they're eating on that small stuff. That's a great idea.
And that's
so. But I try to get around the fish they're eating on the herring. You can catch a bigger class fish.
And are the herring out here usually? What's the size range?
4 to 5 on this lake. It used to be bigger, but I think a lot of them have been eaten up. A lot of the bigger ones have been eaten up.
So you are going to use something a little bigger. Don't let that clear water intimidate you too much to stay small. You're always going to go bigger, don't go at all.
As big as I can do it, get away with it.
Yeah, because they just keep on chewing.
Another thing we were talking about on that drop shot in the bed, little underlooked deal is the teasy on a drop shot, little nose hook in the bed.
Mm-hmm. And you're just kind of like lifting it to make that tail kick?
You throw it in there and you just hold it right in his face, and when he comes up and looks at it, just pop it. So
I got some. Too bad it's all cloudy and rainy out. Otherwise, I'd have some like awesome tactics to try. You know, tell me a little bit too. So the Gambler tournament, dude, it draws like over 100 boats every year. It's kind of a great like community deal. What's it do for you guys as a dealer? Like, what are kind of the benefits of it? Like,
you know, there's a couple of free tournaments throughout the year, and we look forward to them because I mean it helps boost the economy for everything. I mean, you're talking about that many boats coming, even in the Skeeter Trail. I mean, BFLs, all that stuff. You know, you got hotels are being used. I mean, the economy is being boosted in general, not just us. Right. But I mean, I'm going to sell a ton of baits. I mean, that's plain and simple. It's great.
It's great.
I mean,
and it's kind of cool because you know you get a mixed variation of people. I notice in Okeechobee that happens. You get your tournament stakes, you get your families, and you get your guys who maybe they fish every weekend or they fish a couple days during the week, and they want to come out and have some fun. They'll buy some baits. They don't want to pay an entry fee. They just want to catch.
And all this stuff I use year round anyways. Like it's not that I'm just going to use it for this tournament. I've been using this stuff ever since I've been tournament fishing. Yeah. It's good stuff. The Gambler Ace is great. The Little Easy is a great bait. Yeah. So the stud, it's a fluke. Who doesn't throw flukes?
Exactly.
You know? So.
And you got it in your color too, which kind of helps. Yeah. All right, so Tim's got some local apparel, which I actually want to check out because it's kind of cool. You want to show us this stuff, dude? Or tell us a story
I got one of them on.
Dude, what's with the beer stuff? I saw one that's like Keystone over there.
Just messing around. Just messing around. So we done this one and a lot of the kids' apparel is the Jurassic Bass.
That's cool.
It's pretty neat. So got the big bass stuff over here. You know, I've got your just your regular stuff. You got the old that logo as well. So
I know where you're going with this.
But you know, the big bass has been
these
huge.
Are freaking cool,
yeah, it's been
dude.
a huge hit for us. The hats more than anything. And
the hats are mean.
Yeah,
dude.
we got the patent on the Southern Angler now. So,
really? Mm-hmm. Congratulations, dude.
So that's pretty cool.
So if you come to Lanier and you come to Hammond's, you're gonna catch some fish, and you got to buy a hat or a shirt, dude. That's the only way to prove that you were here, right?
Got to get a hat. So I mean, I sell a lot of hats.
So we're gonna start wrapping it up, but the last thing, because I want to give Tim some credit, because this is the very embodiment of like a local tackle retailer is how much of themselves they have invested in it. You saw kind of like the Hammond's line, a bunch of clothes and stuff like that, which you know is cool, and they have it made and stuff, and it represents the local stuff. But one thing Tim told me that's super interesting is tell me like how deep you are in this store personally.
Well, when Jason or I get an idea, I build it all myself. So all the racks, all the wood, anything woodworking in the store, we built ourselves. So
and it's like beautiful.
Everything we
like...
do. But woodworking is kind of a hobby of mine. So I like to build things.
But...
And in the salon upstairs, everything in the salon I built. All the stations, all the front counter, all the racks, everything I built myself. So you have to do that because in a family business, it's too expensive to have other people doing it. So you got to do it. But I mean, everything in the store we've done ourselves. You know,
it's beautiful. I mean, like, dude, like all the. So you learned how to do this, but like gradually, or you kind of had some skills and you made some mistakes.
I've been doing it my whole life with my dad, my stepdad, with Jason's dad.
Right.
Before he passed, he showed me a lot of little tips and tricks, and you got to have the right tools and stuff. But it's nice, just simple math, really.
Yeah.
But you got to have the idea.
Well, that's the trick, dude, because this is creative. And one thing that really stands out with this store, I know, like, one thing I really want to emphasize, we're literally, 30 minutes outside of Atlanta?
Yeah,
like
35.
35 minutes outside, probably one of the biggest metropolitan areas in the Southeast.
Right.
Like, and actually, in the United States, kind of. It's one of those big, epic cities. And, dude, this place feels like maybe not a log cabin, but it feels like this beautiful, like, little kind of fishing hideaway. You can come, buy some baits, hang out,
try to keep
kind of
it
shoot the
homey.
bull. That's exactly what it is, dude.
Keep stools on the counter, let people hang out.
That's
You'll see everybody hanging out, and you want to keep that atmosphere, and that kind of keeps people coming back. That's the whole deal.
Well, dude, half of fishing is kind of BSing around,
That's
asking.
Everybody's lying.
Exactly. Always remember that, but enjoy the conversation. It's all about the community, right?
Everybody's got a story.
Everybody's got a story.